We're on location at the RAI's conference in Toronto, and I'm joined by Bob McWhirter. Welcome back, Bob.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So let me start by asking you, is there a marijuana bubble, and do you think it's going to burst?
Well, there's certainly lots of activity, lots of interest. Overall blog and kind of visits to websites has been huge. If you look at the Canadian Stock Exchange, they set a new record trading in volume about a week ago, and they certainly have a very large number of marijuana stocks that are traded there. Valuations seem to be getting stretched. That's assuming that all of the plans for the Canadian federal government go ahead and that actual retail sales, recreational sales are approved. Analysts are suggesting that some of the large publicly traded companies are trading at 18 times enterprise value to sales, and that's a really, really high price. And that's assuming that all the conditions are pretty good. So at the moment, there does seem to be some pretty stretched valuations, although at today's presentation, there was a company that caught my eye.
So tell us about that company that did catch your eye.
Well, this one is Ianthus Capital Holdings. It's a U.S. company that invests in both marijuana growers, processors, and dispensaries. They've got about $20 million cash on the shelf. They did a recent financing. It's about a $75 million market cap company in Canadian dollars. They've got about 35 million shares outstanding, and the interesting part is there were 19 institutions that participated in the recent financing. So I think institutions are interested. Obviously, they're concerned about some of the kind of stretched valuations. This company seems to be reasonably priced. They seem to be able to acquire companies at about 1.3 times price to sales, much more attractive than the kind of earlier 18 times 2018 numbers in Canada. And with their kind of funds that they've got of the $20 million, they believe that they'll end up being able to produce about $13 million worth of U.S. Cash flow in 2018. And if that's the case, then the stock's trading about 5 times price to cash flow, which again is a true earnings measure, if you will, rather than kind of enterprise value to sales. So that's one that's of interest. Also of interest is a company that I have a personal holding in, which is Nutritional High. The stock's about 30.5 cents. They did a financing about a year and a half ago as a guess. Stock at the time was 5 cents with a half warrant at 7 cents. There's a total of 121 million shares outstanding, $37 million market cap. They've got approval to end up building out the facility, and now with the kind of approval in California, they're also looking at building a separate facility in California as well. Remember that they also will be extracting the oils also for Tinley beverages, for the CBD as well as other potential ingredients. We think there again is an opportunity to rotate into potentially better value the Ianthus Capital Holdings and Nutritional High EAT.
Yeah, those are some two very good takeaways from this conference. And overall, what should investors be looking for when investing in marijuana?
I think there's been a lot of publicly traded companies in Canada that have talked about massive increases in their production that they're expecting to bring on stream in expectation of recreational kind of consumption being possible in Canada in 2018, and it seems to be an awful lot of volume. If it pans out, that's great, but unfortunately, governments are fairly slow moving. Whether or not we hit the kind of summer of 2018 as far as the actual kind of retail sales opportunity that time, don't know. Again, at this point, at 18 times price to sales 2018 for some of the publicly traded companies, there's a lot of optimism built into some of these stocks. Be careful and be mindful. And again, it is a speculative investment, even in some of what appear to be lower price stocks that I've talked of today.
Well, that's some great advice, Bob. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
And for more from the RAI's conference, be sure to visit SmallCapPower.